So, welcome to Instinctual Acting Talk Episode 2. Today I'm joined by Ollie and Tatjana. So, first and foremost, just introduce yourself to everyone.
You go first.
Sure. My name is Ollie and I've been with instinctual acting for about a year and a half right now. I'm born and raised in Russia, and now I'm based in London.
My name is Tatjana Anders. I am an actress and also doing a little bit of filmmaking and writing as well. I've been with instinctual acting for, oh my god, probably 9 years now. So it's been a really long time. And also live in London. I was born in Ukraine. My parents are Russian though, and grew up in Germany. So very multicultural, but really happy to be here.
So, how many languages do you speak, just quickly?
5.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you?
3.
You're not too bad either, yeah.
Got a name them.
For me, so it's Russian, German, French, Spanish, and English.
God. Russian, English, and Arabic.
Wow. God, it's made me feel bad. I've tried Spanish, but nothing else seems to really sink in. So that is quite impressive. So just staying on the topic of instinctual acting quickly. Just tell us why you joined, first and foremost.
I met Michael and he was like, come on.
He gave you the pitch.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I actually moved to London because I was studying business. So I did a double degree. I started studying in Germany and then moved to UK to finish my degree in here. But I've always wanted to do acting. However, you know how it is. You grow, you want to explore your options growing up, and your parents are like, no, you have to go the secure route, study something proper. So I did. I studied business, but I've always been sort of freelancing and doing a lot of work, modeling, and kind of dipping my toes into acting. Back then, I thought that, acting was easy for some reason, but I had no clue what I was doing or talking about. But I kind of got into, starting to do music videos and maybe a few commercials and sort of got a better understanding of it. And then I actually briefly, before I joined instinctual acting, did a few other sort of workshops and courses. And one, for example, I did with this guy who is also an actor. And he was just doing this group. And it was a really bad experience because he didn't really teach us on how to work. He sort of just assumed that we knew. So when we were doing the scenes, at least maybe some of the other actors who were there, they were maybe they knew how to work. They had more background in terms of drama school, whereas I was completely new. And my confidence was so low that I had to take a break for about a year after that, where I was like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And luckily, about a year after that, I remembered I bumped into Michael maybe a couple of, 6 months before that. And then I decided to stop by and check out the workshop. And it was just such a huge difference in terms of how Michael handles people who maybe have less experience and, guides them through and sort of gently encouraging sort of growing slowly and knowing that everyone has their own pace. Mm-hmm. So I think that has been such a revelation for me. That's why I've stuck around for so long, because I constantly feel like I'm growing and I'm always learning something new every week. So yeah, it's been a really great journey.
Nice. And yourself, Ollie?
A friend recommended me Michael's classes. I met Matthew at a previous school. We went there together, and I wasn't happy about it. The level of the intensivity wasn't there for me, and just the approach in general. I just felt that it's not enough. We were on a break, and he reached out. He goes look, I've joined this new school. It's called Instinctual Acting, and Michael's running it, and why don't you give him a call and see for yourself. So I did, and yeah, really happy here. I really feel that I've progressed a lot, and it's not just my feeling. Colleagues, classmates, they all notice that that there's been a massive shift. Although, let's just put it this way, I've been doing acting classes in total for about 2 years and a half. A year with Michael and a year and a half before, and the difference that it made Michael's school is just dramatic. I can't even begin to compare where I was before I've joined and where I am now. So yeah, I'm really happy here.
And what kind of, in regards to how the workshops and things are set up, how does that differ from other acting schools that you've experienced in the past?
Um,
You go first.
Yeah. Well, the difference actually, well, from what I've experienced, the difference is huge. First thing first, there is like a huge variety of workshops. You can pick and choose what you feel you need to work on. Um, Second of all, there is a workshop almost every single day, whereas other schools that I've tried, that there are certain days like once a day, or there are few dates per month, and that makes it less flexible for you. Whereas here at Instinctual Acting, every week you have a variety of 4 absolutely different classes, and it's all working with the camera. So, whereas like other workshops, let's say sometimes we wouldn't even work in front of a camera. So there would be a workshop, and you'd never even work in front of a camera. And I think that instinctual acting is completely different from that perspective, because as an actor, all you want to do is to be in front of a camera. So, and it's here.
No, definitely. I love as well that, here we focus a lot on different techniques. There's a lot of schools that do just Meisner or just, I don't know, Stanislavski. And I think it's good to know different techniques, but not limit yourself to just one, and just see what works for the role, what works for the, I don't know, even the script. And I think that is really helpful. Number one, to be given the tools. We often focus more on those in the one-to-one sessions with Michael, but sometimes we do, little workshops within the workshops of like exploring different techniques, working with music, working with, animals, working with colors, working on your physicality. So it's just so many elements that, before I joined, I wasn't even aware that I could tap into all these things and use them to my advantage. I think that it has been so helpful. And I think another thing that I find incredibly helpful for myself is working on scripts that are relevant, that are being produced in, like last week we worked on a script called Found, which is, it was just like a pilot that, is available, but it's one of the, I think it was released a couple of years ago, so it's not like something from, it's not just plays, because I think plays are good, but I think a lot of acting schools kind of restrict themselves to maybe some of the older work.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but times also move on, and the writing moves on, and just the way scripts are written and the types of characters that exist move on. People talk differently. So I think it's really helpful to work on scripts that we would be actually cast in if we, when we go to audition. So
do you find that with each script that you kind of employ one of these new skills that you've kind of mastered or worked on throughout the classes here?
I try to, yeah. I think it's like about making this conscious decision. Sometimes you get bogged down in trying to learn the lines, because also it's a quick turnaround and a lot of kind of scenes that you have to prepare. But yeah, that's kind of the idea, that you want to try and implement a new skill every time and see what works for you and what doesn't.
Like, so for 1 week you might be focusing on, say, the music that's featured in the production, and that will kind of lead your character in a certain direction. And then next week you might focus on colour and what colour brings to that character, and that might be in a new script. So,
yeah,
see what I mean?
I think it's an interesting one because it really depends on the script and on the character that you're going to choose, right? Or sorry, that is allocated to you. Sometimes we choose, but sometimes we sort of audition, and sometimes it sort of gets assigned. In 1 week, music might work because, for example, it's a very emotional piece, and you just need to get to that emotional depth, and like a song might really help with that. Whereas, on another script, I wouldn't say I know in advance what technique I'm going to be using. It's more the opposite. You see the script and you're like, what would work best for this?
And yourself?
Definitely. But the other thing is that Michael keeps reminding you. Like, I tend to.
That's what he's here for.
I tend to. Of course, we learn, but then you kind of forget as well. And Michael is very good at bringing it back to you, what you kind of already learned but forgot.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, that's what an acting coach is for. That's what they're here to instill those skills in you. In regards to the kind of the riffraff that comes to these classes, have you found quite a strong network with the people that you act with here, and have you worked with them outside of the class as well, or do you stay in touch with those outside of the workshops?
Yeah, we have a very nice group actually. I think we sometimes go for drinks afterwards. Have I worked with anyone? I mean, we've done show reel scenes together with quite a few actors. A lot of people are really, really good. Like, I think it's important to have a high bar, and even the people who are newer are still, you can see the progress every week where you're just like, wow, it's just amazing to see, them on the first day or whatever, their first couple of months, and then 6-7 months later, how much they've developed in that time. Yeah, no, I think we all get on really well. We have our own little WhatsApp group where we sort of stay in touch, and it's quite nice.
Would you say it's predominantly men or women in the class, or do you think it's quite even?
It's very even, I think. Yeah.
So too, yeah.
I think that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is women in the industry. And do you think there's any kind of challenges that are posed towards women that men don't face necessarily? I think it'd be quite nice to explore that in regards to the workshops and the classes that happen here.
We definitely have quite a few really strong women, and what I also like is that we have people of all ages here. Yeah. So we have some people who are a bit older, even in the 60s, 70s, and obviously younger people. And I think it's amazing to see how the industry has developed, because I would say about like 7-8 years ago, when you will even like go to an acting class, or in general, trying to audition, and the general rhetoric around the film industry would be like, okay, if you're a woman, you're either like a love interest, or and that means then you are, if you're anything older than 25, pretty much forget about it. You know what I mean? You don't even try, or you're like maybe like a grandma almost. You know what I mean? It's almost like nothing in between. Whereas it's really amazing to see how many new scripts are being written with, more leading roles of women going through all sorts of interesting life experience, not just being the love interest or someone who is, just like looks pretty or whatever. So it has given me so much motivation to keep going, and to know that there is really good work out there, and you don't have to make it by a certain age, because it puts so much pressure on you otherwise, where you're like, oh, I'm this and this old now, and I still haven't made it, okay, like the chances are like closing,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and they're probably, you know, if it's not going to happen this year, it's sort of like never going to happen. So I think that fear has is slowly kind of dissipating,
Mhm.
and you just feel a bit more relaxed about the industry and a bit more excited about all the cool projects that are waiting for us. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely gonna agree with Tatjana on that point. Age-wise, there's been a massive shift for women in the industry. And in terms of classes, I think that we have a great ratio female male. It's you always have a partner that you need for your sing,
Mhm.
whether it's female or male. I've never felt here at instinctual acting that, you know, oh my god, because before that was quite a challenge for me. The classes that I joined would there would be more female there.
Really?
Yeah. More girls in acting classes, and usually younger, again. And yeah, it's sometimes struggle to have a male partner for
Mhm.
my scene over here. The good ratio, and it's kind of like been always like that. It's a consistent good ratio, and you always.
Yeah, I've never
kind of
really
have a
thought
partner.
about it as a thing because it just feels so organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're fairly new to the classes, right? Instinctual acting, and you're
Yeah,
a
been
veteran by this point.
Yeah.
Absolute veteran. But I mean, have you noticed anything specifically about the or like even like diversity and things like that? Have you noticed a shift in the people that come into these classes?
Yeah, I think it's more diverse in general. I don't know. I feel like with Michael, he's always been very open to having lots of different people of all
Yeah.
ages, of all, um, yeah, of all ethnicities. So I don't know. It hasn't really, stood
It's
out
always
to
been
me
quite
as
an open forum. and-
Yeah, I
quite
would say
balanced.
so. Yeah, I think, but that's just, that's just Michael and how he kind of opens his classes to
Mhm.
whoever is talented
Yeah.
rather than, oh, you're British or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's helpful to be able to speak English, but
That leads me on quite nicely, actually. So, English isn't your first language, am I right? Both of you?
No,
No. So, what's the first language?
Russian.
Russian and German, I don't know. I'm dipping in and out.
Russian and German. Are they similar?
Oh no, not at
No.
all. Not at all. But I moved to Germany when I was 10. So I honestly don't know what I'm more comfortable with. Like sometimes it's Russian, sometimes it's German.
Mhm.
It's depending on like who I'm talking to and
Yeah.
how long I've been. I don't know. You forget
It's true.
when you don't speak
And
the
did
language.
you both speak English when you came to the UK, though?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but definitely not to this level. I think even it's one thing to be able to speak the language, and there's another thing to be able to act in the language.
Yeah.
I think it is more challenging. I'm not gonna lie. Like learning the lines and making them sound natural,
Mhm.
if it's not your first language, is so much harder
Yeah.
than just, if I were to do the same thing in like Russian or German. Maybe not anymore. I feel like now English is sort of like on the same level. But back then, I think it was much harder.
And what about yourself, Ollie?
Yeah, same thing. Definitely. Sometimes I can see that some of my colleagues here at Instinctual Accent, they're so good with learning lines. And then I'm like, oh my god, like, look, like, Matt, he's amazing. He's just read it once, he already memorized it. And I said it out loud to my mom. I was like, wow, like, oh my god. And she goes like, look, don't forget, that's his native tongue.
Yeah.
And for you still, even though you've been learning it for most of your life, it's still not your native language. So obviously your mind processes it differently.
Yeah. This is a random question. When you speak to yourself in your head, do you speak to yourself in English or in Russian or in German? When you've got that little voice in your head, what language is that in?
English.
In English? Is it really? No way.
Yeah.
No
But
way.
again, I go to see my parents in Germany, and then it switches sometimes.
Oh.
It's usually what you speak.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you speak, you will, because it's easier. But sometimes when I feel funky, I would speak to myself in Russian or like think in Russian or whatever. I don't know. Some like when you're in a certain mood. I don't know about you.
It depends on who do I spend most of my day with. Let's say if I have an Arabic class in the morning, or when I was in the uni full time and it was Arabic, words would come to my mind in that language, even though this is my third language, so it's the hardest one.
Yeah.
But it all depends. So if I talk for most of my day to Russian people, I'd think and everything would come in Russian. It all depends. Versus if I'm surrounded by English speaking people, then it's kind of like it just changes.
Yeah.
Just like that. So there is no permanent state of mind the way it works. It just adjusts to the circumstance, and then according to that, you dream in that language that you've used more. You think in that language.
It's fascinating. It is fascinating. I'd love to learn another language. So, as actors, do you think that it is an advantage or a disadvantage to not be like an English native speaker? So, because like you say, the difficulties you find with getting the cadence right and things like that in another language, but at the same time, you could get cast in a part that has to speak Russian and English. So, what do you think?
It's both, I think. Yeah, definitely. A lot of things I audition for are sort of Russian and German roles, which is good because in the UK there is less competition.
Sure.
So that can be quite helpful. And but then again, yeah, if I wanted to, for example, like people sometimes tell me I have a good face for like period drama. You know what I mean? Like, but then I have to be absolutely flawless with my RP, and I'm working on it. But it is a challenge. So yeah, it depends. I think it limits you in some ways.
Yeah.
But also gives you opportunities in other ways.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Tatjana. That's how it is. You never know.
Yeah. So, Mila, you speak Arabic as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
So, have you found that to be a positive? Because I don't know many people that speak Arabic, if I'm honest.
Yes, I'm still hoping that it would definitely be very impactful and helpful, because I actually don't know many people who speak Arabic too.
Mm-hmm.
Even after I've graduated from this university where we did the full-time program, and let's say we ended up with like 10 people who graduated, they were fluent, they were better than me. Some of them were just so amazing. The level was outstanding, and it's no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
We graduated about 5 years ago. There is nothing left there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to keep working on it.
So it leaves you with quite a few people who actually can do that. So if needed, definitely think that that would benefit me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you still kind of like keep working on it?
Yes.
And
Yes, on a weekly basis.
Wow.
Religiously. Yeah.
that's amazing.
So staying on the language side of things, how has instinctual acting helped you with kind of enunciation and things like that, or has it helped you with? Like, have you had like dialect coaches and things like that come into instinctual acting to get, like American accents and things like that? Because I know we do quite a few American scripts here. How's that helped?
Yeah, I think I got introduced to our dialect coach Alex Morgan via Michael, and he's been really brilliant. I've taken a few one-to-one sort of workshops with him, and he has come into the class as well. And I think we had even a few other ones come in occasionally and just do. Obviously, there is only so much you can do in a group because
Sure.
the dialect is a very personal thing, and I think someone has to work with you and your kind of what you're saying wrong or doing wrong with your mouth. But it is helpful, and I think even knowing that help is there and you can tap into it. I think for me personally, for example, I keep working on it myself as well. And then if there's like a role or an audition, then I would then get extra help from someone like Alex.
Nice.
Again, comes down to the variety of classes that are in here. So basically, there is that option to go and and do a dialect class. I definitely want to do it. I haven't done it yet, but absolutely, the more the better.
Oh, you haven't done a dialect class
I
yet?
haven't done. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I definitely want to do it.
Yeah.
I think there is a class coming up fairly soon in American dialect, and I'll be there.
I think American's one of those. We hear it so often that it almost like it's the most common one, I think, for dialect coaches to get. I would imagine, because there are so many American productions and the American accent is so in our face and on the screen all the time. So yeah, I think nailing that is a must. Definitely a must. So in regards to the classes, out of all the productions that you've done here, all the workshops you've done, who is your favourite character and who is your most challenging character and why?
That's a very good question. Right. So I think it was quite challenging for me to do the monster script with Charlize Theron. It's quite famous because of her transitioning, of her looks. They really changed it. Now I think they call it to go ugly, because like she really became that monstrous character that she was portraying, and she got an Oscar for it. So that was quite a challenging script for me. Yeah. What about you?
Man, there's so many things that we do. It's really hard to just think of one thing. I think last week was quite challenging for me just because I had quite a lot of scenes and not that much time to prepare for them. I tried to challenge myself and do them in American accent.
Nice.
And I really like the character, but she's super fierce. And I'm naturally much more mellow, so it's not my strength.
Right.
But it's sort of just trying to find those aspects in yourself and tap into them, which can be challenging. If you play someone that maybe is not naturally how you are, how your personality is, you kind of have to do a little bit extra work on that to like become that character. So I think I found that I thought it was a good challenge for me, for sure.
Nice.
Can I add to something else?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, of course.
Yes. I thought of the name of the script, but actually every script has its own challenges.
Sure.
And what's great about the classes, like I've never been to an easy class here where a script would have come without a challenge. It's always a challenge to do any script. So there is something that is particularly difficult, but overall, if there would not be a challenge, it wouldn't be interesting, first of all, for an actor, because you kind of want to feel this satisfaction after you've been to this class that, oh my god, so I overcame this, I've learned this, and it worked in one way or another, with obviously pluses and minuses. But every single script is challenging.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. And we go for so many of them. It's really hard to think of like just one thing.
I mean, I've been involved with the company now for... I've forgotten how long it's been. It's been 3-4 years, something like that, I think. But yeah, kind of to echo what you just said, the diversity in the scripts we get. Like one week we'll be doing Othello, and the next week we'll do Sex Education. Like there's such a contrast between what we actually do here, which is quite exciting, because every time, right, we've got a new script in. Right, what are we doing this week? Oh, you'd be surprised. So yeah, every script we do, I think you're totally on the button. Everything we do is totally different from the week before. We don't always do like love dramas or things like that, or don't always do just comedy or stage work. It's always different.
Yeah, I agree. I think Shakespeare was a bit of a curveball for me. I'm not very familiar with it. I mean, I've like read it in school back in Germany where it was translated into German. Was it? I don't remember. Anyway, I was like, oh, what is Michael thinking? No. But actually going through it and understanding it and I think Shakespeare has a really interesting way with words and
Yeah.
like, emphasizing certain words that I think you could like take over into modern scripts in a way, or just like the delivery of it. So in a strange way, I thought it was very challenging but very helpful, which I really didn't think it would be when I first started. I was like, oh god,
just stick with it, something will happen, and it did.
Yeah, it was fun.
So just quickly, let's talk about did you both attend the awards this year?
Yeah,
you did.
I think you won an award.
Yeah, I
did
did.
you?
What did you get?
Yeah, I got an award for best newcomer actress.
Nice.
It was interesting when I joined last year. There's like a little story. So I was a little bit I guess cockier than humbled down a lot.
From working with Michael.
So I just joined, just like a month and a half or something, and there was an award ceremony, and Michael invited me to come over, and someone didn't come, and there was like an award, like an Oscar, just hanging around, you know, and I took it, and I was just like
posing with it.
And Michael came to me and
projecting into the future.
He goes like, "What are you doing with this award?" And I was like, "Oh, you know." He goes, "Have you won?" I was like, "No." I was like, "But next year." And when it came down to this year, I was absolutely positive I have won nothing. I was like, "Not this year." Yes, I was surprised, and it felt nice.
Brilliant. Did you win?
I won last year, yeah.
Oh, what did you get last year?
I think Best Actress.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we are doing it again this year. So yeah, last year was a bit of a strange format. So originally it used to be the Instinct Acting Awards, but now we've turned it into a film festival. So it's still about the actors and it's still showcasing the actors' talent, but we're bringing in films from outside. So last year, I think it was an Iranian film won Best Film last year.
There's some really good films.
There's some great stuff in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely great stuff. This year, I think we're going to try and get some more English films in there because
Very international.
It was like 1,100 films submitted, and about 5% of those were English speaking films.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So worldwide. But yeah, so this year we're starting that up again, and submissions that are going to be opening within the next week or so. This year we're changing the venue, I think, as well, which will all be revealed soon.
Exciting.
Yeah, this year we're just going to try and get some more English speaking films. So besides obviously honing in on your craft and practicing acting and coming to workshops, what else do you think there is to becoming successful and making things happen and getting the dream role?
I think a lot of actors regard or look at acting as a craft, which it is. But there is much more to it. I think you also just have to look at the whole business and the whole of the film industry. And we even had a few workshops with regard to that at Instinctual Acting. But more general, I think it's so easy as an actor to get complacent and just be like, send me auditions, agent, angels, I don't know. But I think there should be a realization that you have much more control over it than you think. And personally, I have written and produced a short film a few years ago, which has done super well. So we've crowdfunded it. I also got a private investor involved, and it's called Your Reality. It's like a psychological thriller. But it deals with the topic of emotional abuse and gaslighting, and it really has resonated with a lot of people. So I put it up on YouTube, and we've now hit over 6 million views, and kind of using that as a proof of concept to develop a feature film. So I think there is a lot of, and also when you put things up on YouTube, you can earn money from it. So we've doubled the budget that we had in
nice.
revenue. So yeah, there is so many different avenues that you can develop, and if you can't write projects yourself, you know, it's not impossible to go and find like really talented writers at film festivals, for example, or just, you know, start collaborating and developing ideas of your own. It's definitely much more work, I'm not gonna lie. It's there's a lot of sweat involved, there's a lot of like trying to get moving things to align and to make it happen. It's much easier to just, you know, sit back and wait for that audition, but I think if you are keen to get, you know, yourself out there, this is definitely a really good way to go. And also the other advantage of it is that you can write yourself a role that you want to play, because a lot of the times when you're getting cast, especially when you get started, a lot of the things you just have to take because even if you don't necessarily love the script or love the role, you know, you kind of just want to work. So I think just to having that possibility or ability to play something that you feel you really can embody in like the best possible way, it's just, you know, a great way to move your career forward.
I think that's exactly what Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did with Good Will Hunting. They wrote their own script.
They've produced so many scripts actually. Yeah, definitely.
So have you got much coming up, you two?
A few short film projects, a few auditions that I'm still waiting to hear back on. Obviously I'm developing the short film into a feature, and I'm also writing like a web series pilot at the moment. So yeah, a lot of different things. So let's see what's gonna happen. Yeah.
And yourself?
Zayn, well, they say that an actor is never without an work. That we always should have this mindset of we are preparing for a new role. So self-development, working, more working,
Yeah.
And a bit more work.
Never stops.
So yeah, workshop wise, the next one we're doing is Rosemary's Baby. I don't know if have you watched it or.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Okay, it's really dark. It's
Yeah.
really, really dark.
I'm tempted to watch it, but it's usually advisable not to watch it beforehand, before acting, because
That's a point actually. I was going to ask you both. Do you never watch them? So we've got a workshop coming up, do you watch the show before or?
it's so tempting sometimes when I read a script and I'm like, oh, this is such a great script, I really want to watch it, but I usually do do the workshop and then watch it afterwards. It's very easy to just mimic someone subconsciously, not even like without trying. I don't know, do you watch it sometimes?
Sometimes I do, but yeah, exactly. Once I've seen, plus usually, you know, we work on amazing script here, and acting is great. So like, let's say, I don't know, Natalie Portman or whoever else just came to mind. I've done a scene from Closure, and I've seen this film many times. It's one of my favorite films. And yeah, exactly, subconsciously you're trying, your subconscious mind is trying to do what Natalie Portman's done there. So I'd say, yeah, ideally I do try to read, but sometimes I've already seen it, or sometimes it's just easier to just like go through to just have a general idea. If I don't have time, I kind of cheat sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely agree with Tatjana that it's best not to. Just stick to reading the script and try to do it your own way, and then if you want to watch it, you watch it.
Yeah, because it's much better to come up with your own version of it, and to be different and embrace sort of like how you would do it as a person, because there's so many ways to play a role.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense.
But I'm excited for Rosemary's Baby. Yeah.
Oh, it's so dark. Have you read the script yet?
No, not yet. I know. It's like
savage.
It's
really
it's not a happy film.
No.
Sure.
But it is really good. It's really good. I'm really excited to work on that.
It's a masterpiece, right? It's something.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of like film students would, you know, watch it and analyze it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been redone, I think, a couple of times. Yeah, there's an older version and a newer version of it now.
Ah.
So, and then there's going to be an even newer version when we do it. So that is one thing we're trying to do with the workshops as well. So I'm sure you've seen over the years that we do a lot of classes at the studio here. But what we're hoping to do in this year that we're in now is get out onto location, start finding new locations, keep things fresh, and really up the production value on these.
I think it's amazing. I find it like incredible how much Michael goes when you guys go through to find like interesting locations to make it feel like we're on an actual set.
Yeah, but I do think it makes a big difference in the
huge
results,
difference.
in both the acting and the kind of production value behind the camera as well.
I agree totally.
So I'm really excited about it. We've got some wicked locations lined up.
Ooh.
So,
Gotta make sure to audition for it now.
yeah, yeah, get in there quick because I think there's going to be a few people going for it.
Yeah, you're selling it.
Yeah. Although it is actually based in France, so maybe we could do a Russian version.
Okay. Good luck with that.
Well, I don't speak Russian, so. So along the lines of what we've got coming up this year, we're actually being featured on the stage. So the stage is a leading publication in the performing arts industry, providing valuable resources and opportunities for actors around the world. So we're hoping to start getting people from overseas coming to the class as well. So really kind of pushing. Well, we've got a couple already. So, but yeah, that is one of the aims this year as well.
Do you mean as people who actually live overseas and they can join via Zoom? Is that the plan?
Well, the plan is to start getting people to come over to London and start doing the classes over here. And we've got options of like full-time and part-time courses as well. So you should be seeing some new faces in the classes very soon. So if the audience at home hasn't seen just yet, we have got Michael's IA handbook just here. And the book coming out in hopefully August is Acting is Nothing But Instinctual. If you've liked what you've seen today, guys, please do click the thumbs up, like, subscribe, all of that. And the next one will be coming out in May. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.